You're listening to the Player Issue Podcast. Here's your host, Aaron Warwick.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the Player Issue Podcast. Yes, I am your host, Aaron Warwick, back with the goods. It has been 4 months since our last podcast, and I do really apologise for that. It's been really great to see how many listeners we have actually had in that time. I can see the statistics of who's been listening and where from and what country, and it's just really great to see that even though there hasn't been any content for the last 4 months, there's lots of new people out there listening to the show, and of course all you loyal listeners coming back and listening. So yeah, I really appreciate that, and I can't thank you enough. So I know that, like I say, it's been a while since our last episode, so unfortunately this isn't going to be a full-length interview episode. However, I've got some new equipment. So over the last 4 months, life has happened. I've been a little bit sick at some time. I've had to spend some time in hospital, which is a little bit disappointing. But everyone was really great. All you guys sent me messages or comments on the page and let me know that you were thinking about me. So that was really, really nice of you. So other than that, so we'll get off the sob story. But other than that, I decided that, I really would like to get back into the show and recording the show. And I thought, what better way than to, buy new equipment so it would sound far better. You guys would probably really appreciate it. Whether or not it sounds any different, I guess we're going to find out very soon. That's kind of what this episode really is. It's more of a test-tier episode for all the new equipment that I've got. I'm not going to take you through exactly what I've got because most of you probably won't know or even give a shit of what I actually did get. So if you want to know, just jump on the Player Issue Podcast Facebook page. I'll put up some photos on there and what all the new equipment is. It's just everything's new. So new microphone, and hopefully it does sound much better. It's definitely weird having this new thing in front of my face that I have to be right up against for it to work properly. But other than that, I'm super stoked to have it. I've been doing a lot of reviews and a lot of checking up on reviews and seeing what sort of stuff I should be getting. And this one seems to be the top of the list. And the Rodecaster, which I told you I wasn't going to tell you, but anyway, the Rodecaster little machine that I have down here, real colourful looking thing, is going to make things a hell of a lot easier and actually really excites me to get the show up and going again. Because there was a little bit of time there where, if it happened, it happened. But no, I'm super excited now to get the show going again. Got a couple of really good guests lined up very, very soon. I'm looking to actually record another episode next week, I believe, either hopefully next Tuesday or some even on the weekend following that. But so the new episode won't be too far away. This one here is actually going to be a little bit of information from a year ago. So I actually recorded some interviews a year ago over the phone. It was through Skype, but it was over the phone. While the Port Adelaide boys were standing in line only an hour or so before the 2019 Port Adelaide locker room sale. Now, it was a bit different, that one. Obviously, hugely different to the 2021, so we'll talk a little bit about that. So the 2021, if you saw it or you were a part of it, you'll know all about it and you'll know what I'm talking about. So because of COVID, obviously, it had to be changed a little bit from last year. So last year's one was held in the car park. I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly where, but I'm pretty sure the lads let you know in the interview exactly where it was held. So this year being in the car park, so it changed. This year being COVID, it had to change up quite a lot of things. And that being that doing the locker room sale in the store or in the car park, unfortunately, wasn't going to happen for them. So they had to change it up, and they did online mostly. So they did a couple this year. They did one that was a mystery sale to begin with, it might have been a lucky dip, can't remember, but they were both very similar anyway. So earlier on they did one where they had basically just 150 player issue jumpers, and the idea was everyone pays the same amount, so everyone paid $250, and they were given, we got out of that, basically you got given a ticket, and then your ticket correlated with a jumper. So I have covered this a little bit in previous episodes, but just go over it again just for those who may not have heard it. So your ticket correlated to another jumper, and that's what you got from your lucky dip or mystery or whatever it is you want to call it. And so, I mean, that seemed to work okay. I actually partake in that, well, partook, whatever word you want to use. I used that in myself. I jumped in on that. Thought, this is actually kind of different and interesting and rather exciting. So I thought, why not? I'll give it a crack. And yeah, I actually was extremely lucky. I managed to pick myself up a prison bar, which I think was probably the most desirable, especially of designs, out of that particular sale. So I was super lucky. I was very grateful when I got it. I didn't, unfortunately, have it in the collection too long because I did tell people that I did have it, and I copped a whole lot of backlash for owning it, not being a Port Adelaide fan. So, yeah, super disappointing to have that, but it is what it is. And the guy who ended up getting it off me, he is super chuffed, or was. I hope he still is. So, yeah, it all comes back around eventually. So the second one that they did, which was quite recent, I believe that one was actually called the Mystery Sale. Either way, they had 3 tiers. I believe there was a $150 tier, $200 tier, and a $500 tier. Now these tiers, they actually did send out a list to all the members. So it was supposedly for members predominantly. So $200 and $500 tiers were for members only, and the $150 was for anybody. Now, the problem with this is that the jumpers that they selected per the tiers really didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. So, from what I saw, not just from on the paper, but when people were putting up their gets from this particular mystery sale, so you'd pay your money, and then you can go pick up whatever it was that you were going to get, or you didn't know until you picked it up. Or you could have it posted out, and that was it. There's your mystery, is when you get it, when you open it, that's what you've got. So when everyone started to post up what they got, I started to see, and there was quite a fair bit of backlash from it, because people were paying good money, $500, and people were getting often lesser jumpers than people that were paying $150 or $200. So there was some pretty upset people, and I don't blame them at all, because I'd be pretty pissed, to be perfectly honest. If I paid $500 and I got something that I was not happy with, and I could have got something better out of the $150 or $200, then yeah, I'd be super disappointed. What am I paying that much for, to be perfectly honest? There were some trainers in there. And I mean, fantastic if you're after a trainer, and if maybe it is a specific trainer you're after, then put it in the $500. I mean, that's pretty rough. $500 for a trainer, no matter what. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Now, I do have a Nat Fife trainer that, if anyone's interested in, hit me up. It's going to be around $500, but you know what? He's also a Brownlow medalist, so I mean, if you're going to pay $500, you'd want to get someone that's pretty damn decent. But some of the ones that people were putting up, it was not worth it. So yeah, so I think a fair bit of backlash from that. I mean, there's talk on the Port Adelaide forum today that potentially even the people in charge of that weren't too happy with the feedback they got. I mean, the feedback you get is there for a reason, because generally the collectors know, are probably the best people to ask. So if I was them, I would be asking them for tips and feedback on potentially how to fix that. Because not only was that an absolute farce, in my opinion, some obviously did work out quite well. Some people were super happy. Some people not so. Some people felt that they got what they paid for, even on the $500. No problem. There were some good ones, don't get me wrong. But when they started to leak out some jumpers through the Port Adelaide shop there, and a lot of them were actually far better than the jumpers that were in the $500 tier, and they were far cheaper as well. That's where things started to get a little bit ridiculous, and it started to look, they're just kind of throwing it in their face. Look, we know you guys are going to pay for it, so we do whatever we want to do, is kind of what it looked like to me. And they're right. I mean, supply and demand, if they've got it and you guys are going to pay for it, then they can really do what they want to do. But if they want to look after their members and their supporters and people that really put the money into their club, they should really be looking at doing it a different way. And I'd really feel for the Port Adelaide collectors that I really, really hope that they don't do that again next year. I'm assuming that with all the feedback that they have got. I would hope that they're not going to do it again, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, there's still jumpers leaking throughout the store, even as of today, I believe. And there's been some pretty good ones too. So here's what it is, I guess. And if, like they say, if you keep buying, then they're just going to keep doing it and just making more and more money. So, but if you are a genuine collector, then it really probably wouldn't even bother you. So I'm probably just rambling on for nothing at the moment. So anyway, we're just going to get on with it. So what we've got here today, like I say, is a bit of an interview that I recorded in 2019 at the sale for that one. And it didn't see the light of day, unfortunately, because what I was planning to do was do these interviews in the line, and then when they've come out, I was going to call them up again and we'll do some follow-up interviews, or just even a few days later we'll do some follow-up. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. When the lads come out of the store and they were done. I'm sure you'll hear in the interviews that they were pretty spent. So I wasn't going to hold them up for too much longer, so I didn't want to bother them, and unfortunately it just kind of went on the back burner from there. But I went back and had a bit of a listen to it today. I actually found it was very interesting. So it's not all that long. The overall, I think, interview time goes for about 22 to 23 minutes. So it's not huge, but it is some pretty interesting stuff. And especially now with, like I say, the way they did 2020, it's going to be completely different. I'm sure you'll completely understand what I mean. And yeah, I think you'll notice some pretty big differences in the way they've done it last year to the way they did it this year. Obviously, COVID being what it is, but hopefully they get it right in future. But we'll wait and see. So we'll talk a little bit more after the interviews, just about maybe some of my latest pickups or just how big 2020 was. Because let's be honest, it was massive. I didn't expect it to be as big as it was. We saw an influx of collectors. It boomed. It came out of nowhere. So we'll talk a little bit more about that after the interviews. So we'll just get on with it now. So let me just try something here on my new flash dangle little machine. I'm going to play a little clip for you before we get into the interview. So here we go.
We could live for 1,000 years, but if I hurt you, I make wine from your tears. I told you that we could fly, 'cause we all have wings, but some of us don't know why. I was standing, you were there, two worlds colliding, and they could never, ever tear us apart.
Well, I hope that worked. Obviously I can't play the entire song because there are copyright issues, but hopefully that came out all right, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, if you're a Port Adelaide fan, you'll know exactly what that's all about. Anyway, here we go. Get on with the interviews. Here we are.
All right, how are you going?
How you going, Aaron?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, tired, but not one to go now.
Yeah, all right. Get me started. What time is it over there, man?
It is about 2:30. So sale starts at 4 o'clock, so about an hour and a half to go, yeah.
Hour and a half to go. All right, just so everyone knows, who have we got on the line right now?
Well, there's myself and Lynchy with me.
Yep.
At the moment.
So just so everyone knows, your name is?
Sorry, mate.
So just so our listeners know, obviously, and your name would be?
Dave Beanie.
Dave Beanie. Dave, what time did you get there and when was it?
I probably won't tell you exactly what time we got there, but it was, sometime Thursday. A bit mad, but you got to do what you got to do, I guess, in the port collecting world.
So was there a few of us that got there at the same time as there?
Lynchy and I got at the same time, and we were 3 and 4, and then a few dribs and drabs after that. But there was, at the end of the night, there was about half a dozen, something like that. Yeah. About a dozen. Sorry. Yeah.
By the end of Thursday night.
Yeah. And then by the time dinner time came around, there would have been, about 15, something like that. Yeah.
Nice. And yeah, okay. And this was outdoors, is it? So you guys were all set up outdoors?
We're outdoors, yeah. Lined up along the port store there. We come in for a feed and watched a bit of rugby and cricket, but yeah, for most of the night we're outdoors. Yeah.
Insane. So you guys weren't even the first there.
No. One of the lads, he was there. Got there sometime on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Dom.
Wow, that's utter dedication. Absolutely. Right. So we'll start it off. So obviously, I've heard some stuff about there being some sort of limits as to what you're allowed to purchase or how many you're allowed to purchase. Is this actually the case?
There's a 2 per person limit for a lot of the major Guernseys, I guess. We've been told they've found some Magpies trainers and some fast footy Guernseys. So they're not included in the limit, but for the majority of the Guernseys, there's 2 per person, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So obviously that make it very interesting for as far as what you're actually going to go for. I'd imagine you already have lined up what exactly you want to go for. So I've heard also from Lynchy that a few people get lit in at a time, so it's not just everyone just goes when they say go. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think there's a limit of 15 to start with, and we get about 10 or so minutes in there just to have a look. They set up a marquee at this sale this year, so it's a bit cramped. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they're just going to let the masses in. It's a bit too small for that, but yeah. So it's a 15-minute limit for 10 minutes, and go your hard, see what you can find, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's in the car park this year, is that right?
It is, yeah, which I found a bit strange. Setting up DJs and marquees and barbecues as we speak. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Is there any idea that's a reason why they've done that?
I think they're not expecting the foot traffic that has been previously.
Yeah, okay.
So they want it, I guess, a little more intimate, but it's also right outside the port store. So I guess they're hoping that once you're out of the player issue area, you come in, you have a feed, and you'll go into the port store and maybe buy some retail stuff.
Smart. Are they having a little sale at the port store as well?
Yeah, we are. Obviously, with Oak dropping off as a major sponsor, they're getting rid of a lot of the Oak branded merchandise.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So, all right, take me back to last night. When you guys get there and you're all set up, ready to go, do you have chairs? How do you sleep overnight? Walk us through your evening.
So we get there and set up a chair, and we normally just have a wander around. It's outside Alberton Oval, so we might have a wander around the Oval, kick the footy, just while the time down, I guess. Have a few drinks, a bit of a feed, and then when time comes, I think last night was about 1 o'clock. We all went for a bit of a kip in the cars. And obviously, being in the car park, it was easy, so a bit of uncomfortable sleep, but better than nothing, I guess.
Beautiful. So how many would you say are there right now?
How many would you say, you reckon?
What now?
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, probably 30. I'm surprised at how little there is here, actually. Previous years, the lineup's been out on the road and around the corner, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be that many.
Wouldn't have finished work yet.
Yeah, I think being on a Friday night and working would limit the crowd, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. I did find it very interesting they were doing it on the Friday afternoon, being that, people do have to work. And yeah, it did take me back a little bit. But I mean, I wonder if people are going to all flog in after work. But I mean, is it 4 till 8, did you say?
It's 4 till 8. I had a chat to the manager, and the next 5 Saturdays are all pretty booked out. He was saying with like best and fairest and AFL grand finals and functions like that. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to work out a time, and I guess they settled on the Friday for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And this is obviously something that you guys look forward to all year. Do you have any sort of a budget that you're going in with?
I do have a budget. I'm not a guy that can go out and spend thousands of dollars on Guernseys. I've got to limit myself a little bit. But yeah, I do have a budget of around 500 or 600.
Nice. And so obviously this is going to go to air after you guys have been in and had your fun and all that. Are you able to share with us what your targets are today? I
mean, I guess I'm looking for the Wayne Club heart and soul type players, the Bokes and the Greys and Eberts, I guess. But this year a little bit different too. I'm after a rookie, Connor Rosie.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't normally take chances on rookies 'cause obviously you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, I think he's worth the risk this year.
Correct. I think quite a few people from what I've been seeing are after a few roses as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
a good thing to be in there nice and early.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
All right, beautiful, Dave. Well, we'll hopefully have a chat with you afterwards as well and see how you go, eh?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome, mate. Well, good luck. I hope you get exactly what you want.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Cheers.
Beautiful. Thanks, Dave.
Cheers, mate. All right. Bye.
Hello.
Lynchy.
How you going, mate?
Beautiful, mate. How are you?
Oh, a bit tired.
I can imagine. I can hear it in your
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah, very much, mate. Very much so.
Get any sleep last night?
I did. The lads will reckon I was a bit of a piker, actually. I probably got about
Cool.
5 or 6 hours. I've got a bit of a Commodore sports wagon. I decked it out with a bit of an air mattress and had a decent sort of setup going. So, no, it worked out well.
Lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those that don't recognise the voice, we've got old mate Lynchy back from episode 3. Long time back.
Yes. No, good to be back, mate.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have you back on again.
Thank you.
Is it something you've obviously been looking forward to all year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, we all get here all excited or whenever we got here a couple of days ago or whenever that might have been, and you're thinking we're just going to be it's going to be all easy for us, and the next thing you know, it's you can't keep your eyes open and you're half drunk and whatever, and yeah, it all goes downhill from there. But we've turned it into a bit of an event, to be honest. You know, it's not just about coming and getting the Guernseys and going. A lot of us catch up, and we have lads flying from interstate. We've got a lad flying from Brisbane, another lad flying from Melbourne. So, it's a good time to catch up.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So obviously you say it's a bit more of an event. So after you're in and done with all your Guernseys, are you going to stick around a bit and hang out with a few more lads, or are you going home for a nap?
Well, probably because it's only 2 per person limit Guernseys, you can sort of go back and go around and around if you like. So I'd say we'd probably hang around for a couple of hours, but some of the lads might just get their 2 Guernseys and wander home because they're pretty tired. But I'll probably hang around for a while. So
Yeah. So
we'll
you
see how we
plan on
go,
going
mate.
back around a couple of times to see what you can pick up again?
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, the 2 per person probably isn't ideal.
Yeah.
I'll probably have a talk to the hierarchy about that one in the future, because I've noticed definitely last year we had a lot that was still sitting in the shop, and they still are. So
Yeah, right.
at the end of the day, I would have thought they just would have wanted their stuff gone. But I'll probably compile a bit of an email. They like the feedback, so compile a bit of an email to them when we're done and dusted. Just a few of us lads and our thoughts, and we've already been talking about that sort of stuff, like making it, members exclusive and all that sort of stuff. You do sort of see an element of people from other clubs come here to buy the stuff, and then moving on eBay and whatnot, Gumtree, and then to sort of supplement their own collections. So I don't reckon that's that. It's not real cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you say there's about 30 people there at the moment.
Yep.
Is there people there that you don't recognise? Is it mostly just people that you have seen around, or is it there are a few new faces?
Well, I've already met a couple of lads that you talk a lot on Facebook about stuff, but you've never actually met in the flesh, and you'd know all about that. There's a lot of people you would talk to, mate, and you've never actually met. So I've already met a couple of them today. It's always good to put a name to the face and get that connection, I guess.
Definitely.
But yeah, there's always people that sort of come up to you as well and go, "Oh yeah, you're Lynchy," or "You're Dave," and strike up a bit of a conversation. It's a good thing to happen.
Beautiful.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for us collectors and just fans in general, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I was talking to Dave about what his targets are. What are your targets today?
You actually find most of us are pretty similar, mate. It's been a pretty lackluster year, like you Fremantle boys, I guess. We're all a bit mid-row, and Bokey was probably our pick of the players this year. I think he's pretty popular. I'd like a Boke.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like a Robbie Gray. Connor Rosie was a bit of a standout player this year when I go back around. I'd like Boke and Gray first up, and we'll see how we go around the next time. It's a bit hard to sort of tell at the moment how many people are going to be here, because it's a complete different sort of setup to what we've had in the past. We have it on a Saturday morning.
Yep.
As you know, you had yours last weekend, and obviously people are off work, you know, the general population, but at the minute, most of them are at work.
Yep.
And I'm probably expecting to get a bit of an influx within the next half an hour to an hour, I reckon. There's not a great deal of people here at the moment. Yeah, I'd say 30, 35. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to go about it this Friday afternoon, so it will certainly be interesting to see what happens.
I think the only reason they've sort of gone down that path is they just didn't have any other sort of time in their schedule to have it. It's just obviously with the grand final tomorrow, they sort of couldn't have it then. And last weekend, the Port Maggies were in the grand final in the Sandfall, and so the timetable's been pretty booked up. But yeah, they've got a lot of things here. I'm just looking outside there now. They've got a DJ out there. They've got like a barbecue set up. I think they're sort of hoping people hang around and sort of support the club a bit. We've been doing that for 2 days. I've had 4 meals in the bistro here, so I'll give them a bit of a shout out. Beautiful meals down the Port Club if anyone's listening.
Beautiful.
The chef's doing a great job.
I'm sure he knows your face as well too well by now.
Oh, he does. Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. One thing's for sure, mate. I won't be getting the 53 Guernseys what you got.
Oh, mate, I'm sure you could give it a crack if you could.
Oh, not at our prices, I don't reckon. But we have just found out. They found it. I think Dave just touched on that, Aaron. We found out there's a bit of they found a bit of stuff in the footy department that's sort of hid in the corner, and I think they're chucking that out pretty cheap. So that'll be pretty interesting to see what they come up with there. We're not 100% sure what they've got, but they always tend to have a few little goodies in there.
That's pretty exciting stuff. So do you know? Obviously, you don't know that sort of stuff, but do you know exactly what's going to be there today, other than Guernseys, that you're going to aim for?
Well, but they've got footies where they've never had before.
Mm-hmm.
So then
the game used for balls.
Things. I think they've got some Anzac weekend balls with the Anzac symbol on them, so that'd be pretty collectible for some of the people. I think I'm not a big ball person myself, but a few of the lads really love their footies. What else have they got? Remember the Foxtel Cup a few years ago?
Yes.
The Waffle Clubs would have played. I think they found a few Port Magpies Foxtel Cup Guernseys out the back, so
nice. I
might even try to grab one of them myself. I think the Magpies prison bars are going to be pretty popular by the sounds of it too, because at Port Adelaide everyone loves a prison bar, so
definitely
they'll be a hot commodity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you touched on pricing a little bit. Do you know if the pricing is going to be consistent with previous years?
A little bit lower, from what I believe.
Right.
I'm pretty sure our top players last year were about 180. I think this year they're 160, so they brought the prices down a bit.
Yeah, nice.
That's your top line. I'd say they would range between 100 and 160. Your trainers, they were 100 last year. They're 50, so that's come down 50%. And apparently, I've heard some of these bits and pieces, things they found out the back, they're going to throw them out for $15. So that's pretty good of them. Yeah, and they're not actually part of your limit. So
yeah, nice.
Be nice to they're little stocking fillers for your collection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Lynchy. Well, you got an hour until the show kicks off, so we'll let you go and have a bit of a kip, I think, in between then, so you can get yourself raw and ready to go. And hopefully we can have a chat with you when you picked up some of your stuff, and we'll see how you went.
No worries. Thanks for that, Aaron.
Awesome. Thanks, Lynchy. Good luck, mate.
Cheers, mate. All right, mate. Bye.
Gotcha.
You there, Aaron?
Yep. I'm here.
Did you want to have a chat to another collector, Pete Pazios?
Absolutely.
G'day, Aaron. How are you, mate?
I'm fantastic, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. What's happening?
No, I've already done them.
Mate, I'm just sitting there with my day off, just enjoying chatting to all you lads. So,
mate, you couldn't ask for any better talking to a bunch of legends like us.
Right, very good call. How are we, mate? How's your evening going? How's it all been? How was the excitement, the rush been?
Yeah, no, I think we're all at the point now where we're ready for it to happen. A lot of us have been here since yesterday. So we're all pretty tired and we've had a few too many drinks. So some of us need a good shower, good scrub. But yeah, we need this sale to happen. So we got an hour to go now. So the line's starting to build. So yeah, we're all pretty excited.
So a few more people rocking out now, are they?
Yeah, there's a few, probably in the last hour or so, there's been a few more that have rocked up. So, yeah, the line's definitely getting a bit longer.
Fantastic.
But, yeah, the deep collectors have been here since last night and the day before, actually. One guy's been here for 2 days. So,
that's tremendous.
Yeah.
That's actually pure commitment. You can't really fault that at all, can you?
No, exactly right. Exactly.
I got to ask, the club are obviously aware that you guys do that. Do they show you any sort of recognition as far as how much effort you guys really put in?
You know what? To be honest with you, they haven't, they know our faces and they'll have a chat to us, and I think they'll walk past us in the line and maybe give us a few tips with what sort of Guernseys are out there, how many of each player may be out there.
Yep.
They give us a few things like that, but yeah, apart from that, they don't give too much to us, which is a bit of a shame. But I'm sure that might change in the future.
So is this the 4th or 5th year round?
This is the 4th year.
Yep.
Lynchy, is that right? Is this the 4th year they've done the sale? Yeah, 4th year.
Yep. Have you been to all the previous ones?
Yes, I have, mate. Been to all of them.
And have you been at the front of the line every time?
Not every time. The first year that they did it was when I first started getting into collecting. So I wasn't all the way at the front. But yeah, that year was a bit chaotic because it was more than 2 per person and there wasn't a limit to the number of people that could go in. So it was a bit crazy what was happening in there. People being pushed and shoved and thrown. So at least there's a bit more order now. But yeah, the last 3 years I've been towards the front.
Beautiful. And do you have a budget yourself?
No budget. No budget. Well, of course there's a budget because the missus has got a joint account, so she's got to look at the transactions. So there's always a budget because you've got to go home to her and explain what's happened. But yeah, no, you can't go too silly. But yeah, no. I think the thing is, if there's quality there, you can make it happen.
Absolutely. Do you have targets that you're aiming for?
I think, like most people here, the big 3, Rosie, Gray and Boak, are the number 1 targets. But from what we've heard, there's a few other quality Guernseys. There's a couple of Foxtel Cup ones in there. There's a few Planet Teals that they found in a box, so they're 10 years old. So, there's a couple of them in there. So, we'll go through and see what's in there. And, just have a suss, I guess. Because, when you're going in with a group of people, who knows what's going to grab what.
Yeah, true. That's very right. Yeah. So obviously you've got a bit of understanding with a few of the boys, right? So you kind of hands off those type of things, and you're going for your own certain jumpers, or
I was going to say, with most of the guys that are here today, we're all pretty much going for the same ones. I think there is a really good social etiquette with port collectors that if you are first in line, you're probably going to get a priority with getting that Guernsey. So. Yeah, we do tend to help each other out, which is great. And one of the good things about the group of collectors that do spend the night. But yeah, that's the main thing. But yeah, I think a lot of people going into this sale wanting those top 3, but also just playing by ear and seeing what's actually still left. Nice.
Are you targeting any sort of specific designs, or is it really just numbers you're going to go for?
I reckon this year I'll go for numbers. However, I don't know. I'm hearing about these Planet Teals. It's not bad. I've already got one myself. So I've got David Roden's from 09. So, but I wouldn't mind a second one. So we'll go in and see what's there. But mainly players I'm targeting this year. Yeah,
nice, fair enough. And so I've completely forgot what I was about to ask you then, but that's all right.
That's all right.
How many? Actually, I'll ask you just previous questions. How many jumpers do you actually have in your collection at home?
Okay, so I did have 50. That was my max.
Yep.
I did recently get married and had to bloody pay an arm and a leg for a bloody wedding. So I'd start to downsize. But what I've tried to do over the last 12 months is just downsize my collection, but keep some quality pieces.
Yes.
So I'm really trying to refine my collection to a small amount. But just get the quality in there.
Yeah, fair enough. I've heard that a lot from you blokes, actually, that you're all going for quality over quantity.
Yeah,
I have a serious problem, I think.
No. Well, there are some collectors out there that want the quantity. Like Monty, who's a really good mate of all of ours. He's almost got one of every single Port Adelaide style that's ever been out there.
Yep.
So he's got some ripping pieces. But yeah, he's going for styles more than anything. But yeah, I think for most of us, we're looking to get that quality. And I know
fair
Dave,
enough.
for example, he's looking for those premiership players.
Yes, I have seen that. Yep.
So yes.
Beautiful. All right, so you brought up Monty, actually, so that brings up a nice question. Thank you for that.
That's all right.
Obviously, you've got people that are interstate and they can't make it to these type of things.
Yeah.
Have you had contact from people interstate that are asking, can you possibly pick some up? How would you even go about that? Because obviously you do have a limit.
Yeah, of course. And that's the tricky thing. Back when there wasn't a limit, it was easy.
Yep.
Now that there's a limit, it's that little bit harder. There definitely has been a lot of people from interstate or people that can't make it that are in the country or working that have posted on our Port Facebook pages asking if anyone can get particular Guernseys. I think this is the first year that they're going to have the phones open from 5 o'clock. So, yeah, I think what a lot of people are doing this year is that they're going to go in and they're going to grab what they want, and then they'll probably go in for round 2. And if they can hold a Guernsey for one of those interstaters or somebody else and wait till they're able to ring in or just pay for it for them and organise it later on, I think that's the big plan this year.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's going to be pretty chaotic anyway. So
yeah, it's always chaotic. Every year's chaotic down here. Yeah, I think being a Friday afternoon, it'd be interesting to see how it goes numbers-wise. They've done it previously on Saturdays, and they've got pretty big crowds, whereas a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock when people have got work, it'd be interesting to see what the crowd's like. But yeah, no, I'm sure it'll still be chaotic.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning, it would be an influx of people from the very beginning, but then going towards the end of the day, it just kind of peters out. Whereas I'm thinking Friday afternoon, people are going to start rocking up 6, 7 o'clock, and it's just going to go all the way through, I would have thought.
Yeah, and I reckon that's what the club's thinking as well, and that's why I think they've tried to do a Friday afternoon. And luckily here in Adelaide, we've got beautiful weather today. It's not pissing down with rain or blowing a gale. So, yeah, we've got beautiful weather. So, yeah, hopefully a lot of people will rock up and make a bit of money for the club.
Very helpful. Yep, beautiful. All right, Peter, well, thank you very much for coming on and have a chat with us. I wish you all the very best, and hopefully everyone's nice to each other and you all get exactly what you want.
Nah, thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate it and loving the podcast and everything you're doing as well.
Lovely. Thank you very much, mate. We appreciate that.
Done. Thank you, mate.
Have a good one, mate.
You too.
Good luck.
So there we have it. It's very interesting to go back and listen to how the world was so different just a year and a half ago, or around about a year and 4 months ago when that was recorded. I'm sure you'll agree. There's some very interesting stuff in there, and really well done. Again, I've said it before, but really well done to the Port Adelaide collectors and the way they really get into it and love their passion for their collecting is just incredible. So well done to them. Again, I'm really, really sorry that 2020 didn't work out the same way. But if you did actually manage to get along to that sale in 2019 or even earlier, and you partook in any of the sales this year, so the 2 mystery sales, mystery or lucky dip, whatever you want to call it, if you partook in one of those, and you want to share some of your thoughts with us, whether you agree, you disagree, or you just want to share your thoughts in general, please let me know. Would love to hear from you, and would love to perhaps do a little bit of a follow-up episode with this one, so you guys can get some of the Port Adelaide collectors' thoughts and feelings on how it actually went. I'm sure everyone will be very, very interested to hear what exactly your thoughts are. I know I am. So yeah, if you were a part of any of those and you'd like to know, have your thoughts known, let me know, because I'd love to get you on and we'll have a bit of a follow up to this one. And hopefully you did get what you want out of the sales this year. Hopefully you weren't one of the unlucky ones who paid a little bit too much money for something they didn't really want. But I know there were plenty of people who are very happy with their collecting this year. That's the interesting thing about the Port Adelaide collectors, is even though you may not get what you want, especially with this lucky dip stuff, it always seemed to work out where trading and just bartering with other collectors managed to get mostly what everyone wanted in their collection. So always really good just to sit back and watch and see. So yeah, well done to you guys, and we'll have to wait and see what 2021 holds for you. So as I mentioned, 2020 has been a massive year. I've seen nothing but just absolute boom in the market as far as the amount of collectors that are out there. Some of the values have either gone up because the amount of collectors collecting are willing to pay more money, but there are a lot of values that have gone down as well, and that's purely because the market flood. So there are a lot more jumpers out there, and aren't maybe as many people buying those particular jumpers that are up. So it ebbs and flows. It'll happen every year. It'll go up for a little while. It'll come down. Port Adelaide being a big component of that. The values have always been rather high in the last couple of years. And I think you'll probably find with the amount of jumpers that are out there now that the shop has certainly put out, it's probably going to bring those values down a little bit lower, especially for the mid to lower tier players. So you'll probably find that'll happen across all clubs when there's just that many people out there collecting at the moment. Values will just drop because there is just a huge amount of demand, and the supply just seems to be keeping up with it at the moment. So you'll still find that the bigger players and bigger jumpers will keep their value purely because the people who are holding on to them just won't give up on them that easily. So it is good. If there are jumpers out there that you're interested in, whatever you do, just don't think you're going to get it for a bargain if it's something that is really worth it. Don't treat people who have it with disrespect. Treat them the way they should be treated. They own something that you really want, and really, if they don't want to give it up, they don't have to. So don't push, and if you do ask questions, make sure you get back to them. Like, my God, the amount of people that message me whenever I put up posts about jumpers that I'm selling, and they message me and say, I'm really interested in this. Yep, no worries. And then they just ghost you, or they say, I'll get back to you within a week. They never do. I actually had one very recently. You may even be a listener. I hope you are. He actually messaged me about a jumper that he wanted and said he would get back to me within a week and he will purchase it. He never did. And with a few weeks later, he asked me about another jumper, and I decided to ignore him because, you're going to waste my time. I'm going to waste yours. So I ignored him, and I got back to him probably a few days later. I think it might have even been 2 days. Not a big deal anyway. And he got quite pissy because I didn't reply to him at first. So if you're going to do it, you're going to get the backlash. So if you're not going to reply to somebody, then they can do whatever they want with that jumper. Follow up. If you want it, then follow up. But don't start getting pissy if someone sells something because you didn't bother to take the time to follow up. It's just, it's just pathetic. And then especially if you start sending messages, which are just ridiculous, where you don't have anything to back up your claim. It's unbelievable. But anyway, there's plenty out there. There's a lot of people collecting, so there's not going to be any shortage of jumpers anytime soon from what I can tell. Clubs are far more willing to give them up this year, which is something I did not think was going to happen. I think we talked about this when Corona started, and we thought that the lack of jumpers would be quite evident. But it really isn't. So it seems that the clubs are willing to give up their jumpers because they realise that there is a big market out there. Well, 2020 is over, thank God. Here is 2021. Everyone thinks that 2021 is just going to be so much better now because 2020 is over. I really hope so, but you certainly can't go in thinking that it's going to be any different in 2020 because it's certainly not behind us. Rearing its ugly head, and it's going to be around for a little while. So we'll be living differently for quite some time. But as long as collecting keeps up and everyone does the right thing, then everyone's going to be pretty happy. Now, finally, we're able to confirm, and I know most of us already know anyway, but some of you may not know already, but we're finally able to confirm all of the new jumper manufacturers for 2021 now that they have all been announced. I probably was going to announce a few early, but I wasn't allowed to. I had to keep them under wraps a little bit. So we are now going to talk about it because I'm allowed to talk about it and everything is out in the open now. So Adelaide's new jumper manufacturer is O'Neill's, which you may not have heard of before, and I wouldn't really blame you. They don't do a lot in Australia. They're actually an Irish company, and they make a lot of the Gaelic football jumpers over there. I think a lot of the Adelaide fans are actually quite happy to see that because they were heading down a path that they didn't want to see. So O'Neill's could be pretty good stuff for them, I reckon. Collingwood were last on board, I believe. They finally announced that they are with Nike. Took some time, and that's not a big surprise. Nike are not the most well-known for getting stuff out in a hurry. So I hope that does not give you a picture of how it's going to go for their jumpers, because it didn't work out real well for Carlton, especially towards the end of their contract there. I'll get back to Nike in a little bit, but yeah, so hopefully it works out well. The jumpers do look good, especially the Clash one. I don't know why, but the Clash one always looks really, really good to me. So congratulations, Collingwood, on that big contract, because no doubt it would be huge. Fremantle. Now, Fremantle finally, I was sitting on this one for months and did my head in. I actually have the very first ever Fremantle jumper, player issue jumper, made. I have it in my possession. Luckily, it has changed a little bit since I got my hands on it. So not obviously the jumper I have in my hands, but the design has changed a little bit from that, because I wasn't too happy about the way it looked. And luckily, I think they took a little bit of direction, or a little bit of, I guess, feedback from us saying, from me, saying that it didn't look amazing. And a couple of things probably needed to change. I did get a graphic designer friend of mine who I probably shouldn't mention because I might get myself in the shit. But he's a good mate. He's a really good bloke. And he drew up a design for them, said, hey, this is probably what it should look like. And lo and behold, when it came out again and was announced, it actually did look extremely similar to his design. So thankfully, it looks like the club listened. And they did change it, because now it looks much, much better. Now, the quality of the jumper, I'll be very interested to see what it's like. If it is going to be the same as what I have in my hands, it's completely different, the ISC material, that's for sure. I will very much so miss it, and we'll have to wait and see exactly what it's going to be. But interesting times ahead for Fremantle, that's for sure. I know they also knocked back a contract from Macron as well. So that's a little bit of a tidbit for you if you didn't already know, that yes, they did decide to knock back Macron and go with a local company, because they are local and they've gone back to Seacom. I think I might have actually mentioned this on a previous show, but yeah, there we go. Gold Coast, they are going with New Balance, which a little bit out of left field, didn't really see that one coming. But congratulations to Gold Coast with New Balance. It's a big company. I'm very glad that I did get a couple of Gold Coast jumpers this year, because like I say, I do love the ISC stuff, and to only have them for 1 year, yeah, different. But I love the stuff, and it'll be greatly missed. Greater Western Sydney, they went, again, left field, but this one is huge. Like it's a massive deal. They went with Puma. Now, Puma's making some incredible stuff, probably the last, I'm going to say the last 8 or 9 years. They've been making some incredible jumpers, well, maybe even longer than that. But in the last 8 or 9 years, for sure, their jumpers that they've been making is just most beautiful stuff. The elastane material they use is absolutely gorgeous. It stretches nicely without tearing like the IC stuff does, but stretches beautifully. I can imagine it'd be really, really comfortable to wear. So congratulations to Greater Western Sydney going with Puma. It's another giant. Sorry, I didn't even mean to say that. So mentioning Macron before, they have a contract with Port Adelaide now. So Port Adelaide with Macron, those who don't know who Macron is, if you go and have a look at football, so not AFL, but soccer, if you go and have a look at a lot of European clubs, even Perth Glory, there probably are some other A-League teams as well that are with Macron, but I know Perth Glory is. They've been with Macron for a few years now, so I think 2013. They're interesting stuff. They always have some really nice designs. I'll give them that. It does look good. The material can be quite interesting, so it will be very interesting to see what their player jumpers will be like. I imagine they're going to be extremely tight, very small, similar to what IC was, but I would say that their retail stuff is going to be the same. So it's going to be really, really tight-fitting stuff. So it'll be very interesting to see what that's going to be like. And when you guys do get a hold of some, let us know, because I think, you'll probably find that they'll be much smaller in size for the retail gear as well. St Kilda, so they decided to go, well, they didn't, but ISC have decided to completely terminate everything from AFL, which is a bit sad. They were going to continue on with St Kilda this year. They weren't, however, going to be displaying their logo on any of the jumpers, so a little bit weird that they would do that. Probably pointless, to be perfectly honest. All they would get out of it is they would just be selling their gear to St Kilda, so not a huge deal for them. In that case, St Kilda decided to go with New Balance. So they got out of their contract and have gone with New Balance, which is great because it means they can sell the retail gear, get it made by New Balance and sell it in stores, rather than have to make in-house gear for retail, which, yeah, could have been really hard work, and obviously they probably didn't think it was going to be worth the trouble in the end. So New Balance was their new manufacturer of choice, and it's a good one. Obviously New Balance are taking over quite a few new clubs, so good to see that New Balance is on the rise. Maybe they're the new ISC, who knows? Hopefully it doesn't mean they're going to shut down anytime soon. And obviously Sydney, as I mentioned earlier, I'll come back to Nike. Sydney have signed with Nike now. As I mentioned, Nike can stuff things up, and from what I've seen early on, it looks like the numbers may be heat pressed as well. And unfortunately, that's not a huge surprise because they were with Carlton, and it's taken some time to get the jumpers to Sydney and to Collingwood, as I've said earlier. So potentially the numbers will be heat pressed. Now, it would be quite disappointing to see that. The jumpers themselves do look quite good, but they do also look like the 2019 Carlton jumpers. So not that the quality was bad at all, it was quite good, but yeah, everything heat pressed onto the jumper, it just looks a little bit cheap and tacky. But from the pictures that I've seen, the Sydney ones do look quite nice. So hopefully they are as nice as they look on field, and obviously in hand even more so, because no doubt you guys will pick up some. And it'd be great to see. It would be great to see some sublimated Nike jumpers again, because I do remember, I did have a 2016 Patrick Cripps Indigenous Nike jumper, and it was beautiful. The colours unfortunately ran on it super quick, so it made it feel and look kind of weird, but it was absolutely gorgeous to have. And yeah, Hamish, you're a very lucky man that I sold you that. I want it back. And the last one that we'll give you is West Coast, which I think I may have mentioned previously, but if I didn't, of course I'm allowed to mention it now, being that everything's announced, as I keep saying. The West Coast Eagles have gone with a European company, and that is Castore. Very interesting. I've only seen the blue or the light blue, like the navy blue and the yellow jumpers, so they don't look a huge amount different to what the IC ones did. But yeah, it will be very, very interesting to see what the quality of the material is like. As I mentioned many, many times, I'm a huge fan of the IC material, so I don't know how the Castore stuff is going to turn out. So interesting. And I know that the fans of West Coast are also patiently waiting on the Castore stuff to come in store. So they're going to be waiting a little while because it's all being made overseas. So they're going to send it over here and then get it into the shops, but it's still some time away, I would say. They're still wearing ISC gear for training in 2021. So, yeah, hopefully it's not too far away and we'll see some Castore gear on field, at least for the March series. Hopefully we'll see them running around in Castore gear very soon. Now, I mentioned I was going to tell you guys what I picked up in 2020. I am not, because I went through a list of all the jumpers that I picked up. Well, I went through a list of the jumpers that I picked up that I still have. I would definitely have sold quite a few over the time as well, over last year. But so I went through and counted up how many jumpers I still have that I purchased in 2020, and the answer is 153. Now, that's what I have in collection still. As I mentioned, I've sold quite a few, so I don't know exactly how many I picked up to how many I sold. I'd imagine it's probably going to be somewhere close to 200, I would guess. So, yeah, big year for me as well. Hopefully you guys had as big a year as me. I currently have 350 jumpers in the collection, which is the most I've ever had. I got close to 300, or did get 300 at one point, and then started selling for our trip to America. So I'm up over the 350 now, and that probably won't come down too quickly anytime soon. However, I will be planning a wedding very soon. Well, I am actually in the middle of planning a wedding right now, so no doubt that'll have to change. I have started selling some jumpers, but that's mostly to subsidise the equipment that I've purchased, which is over $1,000 worth of equipment. And unfortunately, hosting episodes isn't exactly cheap either. So pretty much every episode I do cost me about $30 to host. So yeah, so it's not free, unfortunately. So I will have to be posting up some jumpers here and there. I think I've got about 20 to 30 on sale at the moment. If anyone's interested, hit me up. That's pretty much going to bring us to an end today. Like I said, I will be having another episode very, very soon, hopefully in the next week and a half to 2 weeks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, it's only a short one, but hopefully you enjoyed it. If you would like to leave a review, subscribe to the show on whatever podcast format you listen to, that would be fantastic. Tell all your mates. And of course, if you want to be on the show, let me know, because we're always up for more guests. Thank you guys, and good night.